Time guest here. I apologize. So here's the question I have about this guy, this case. What would motivate somebody? Not, I understand the motivation for the killings, right or wrong. I mean, this guy had his own vision, if he did it, of how to clean up Laredo. I'm going to just take out these little parent sex workers. But what's the motivation to confess that you've done it if you really haven't done it?
Maybe just to get out of there sooner. I mean, it's your tone is the same that I'm going to. It's quite unbelievable. It's not credible to now say, well, I know what I said and I was calm, but it wasn't really me. There is no motivation other than that's what he was feeling at the time, and your summation and observation of what was going on. The interrogators were leaning back, and it looked like a very relaxed atmosphere, and that he had a lot of stuff to get off his chest.
Yeah, that's usually the best interrogation, the one where you just kind of sit back, let them talk. Okay, I got to ask you about this because I think it's fascinating. Maybe this has happened to you, Ron. You've been in the midst of a trial, and somebody on the other side of the courtroom there, the opposition, just leaves. They leave the case. They're done. That's what happened in this case. We have Isidro Alanis. He's the DA, but he's working with another prosecutor, Joshua Davila. Davila leaves yesterday. He just says, I quit. And let me read this because I don't want to misquote what he said on the way out the door. He said, "This is the most unprofessional and toxic workplace I've ever had to deal with. I do not recommend it. I'm sorry to anyone I let down." So now the position from the DA is that, well, this is an administrative thing. Maybe he didn't get enough sick days. I mean, whatever. Has nothing to do with this trial that's now in its 5th day. What's your take on the timing, the motivation? We're speculating here, so speculate away.
Well, I think the first thing is that he probably feels he didn't get the support that he wanted. But there's so much at stake, especially in the middle of this. I mean, you and I would know you can be disciplined by the state bar for doing something like this in the middle of it. There's no notice, no nothing. You don't work for anyone but your employer or your client, and for him to do that is such a huge deal. I mean, I wouldn't even think of doing that. I think if it would happen in a civil trial, which is, I think the judge would stop me, like, what is going on? It is quite incredible thing to see. I mean, the guy just must be just exasperated. I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe, like, you're right, he didn't get enough vacation days. Like, I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such an extreme maneuver, and we have to remember his client is the state of Texas. That's his client. Yeah. So he has an obligation to that client, which clearly he's violated by walking away, whatever his problems are within the office. My one thought might be that, they took the death penalty off the table in this case. And maybe that was a sticking point between the DA and this prosecutor, let's look at this case. If it's proven it's a serial killer case, it seems to me it might qualify for a death penalty case, but I believe the families, according to the DA's office, were on board. They're okay with it, in part because it would shorten the trial from 4 weeks to 2 weeks. I don't know. Do you think that's enough? If that were something you were trying to prosecute that was pulled from you, would that be enough for you to walk?
If you're being selfish, yes, of course, because that's a feather in your cap if you're able to do a death penalty case successfully. But again, if your clients and the victims are saying, listen, this is what we're doing, this is our decision, it's not up to the attorney to just kind of stomp off and, I'm taking my ball and going home because this isn't, I mean, he's basically saying he's worth his time. You have to listen to your client. And if your client says, this is what I want, then you have to do that.
What I really wonder is, what's the jury think about this? They're